And I just decided I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. And I decided I will never choose to feel hopeless ever again. And then the light bulb went off. I had an epiphany. Well, Gary, it's just a choice, right? You can choose hopelessness or you can choose hope. Stop watching crap. Like, it doesn't do anything. We need to guard our consciousness. We need to guard our eye gate and our ear gate and our mind gate. It's critical what we're putting into our biocomputer. What we put in, we get out.
Today's guest is Gary Gradley, the purpose coach, helping you bring clarity and passion to your future. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you. Great to be here today.
Excellent. I'm really excited. So what is one of the most courageous things that you have done?
Wow. It's got to be, I hit my own corporate training business for about 20 years and things were going along great, earning six-figure income, helping a couple thousand people every year until the great recession of 2008, 2009 happened. And so let me just give you the context in terms of the breakthrough that I had, the courage that it took, actually. And my clientele is corporate businesses. And so what I discovered is they usually spend $0 on speakers and trainers in the recession. So I'm working really, really hard for an entire year. I have zero income. I'm a single family income earner. And I rack up $50,000 in credit card debt. And I become hopeless. I become cynical. I become distressed, especially financially. And this is going on for several months. And one morning, I remember it so clearly. It was a February 2009 winter, bleak, overcast morning. I'm sitting in my side office over here. And I just decided I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. And I decided I will never choose to feel hopeless ever again. And then the light bulb went off. I had an epiphany. Well, Gary, it's just a choice, right? You can choose hopelessness or you can choose hope. So I decided, and that was, I guess that's my courageous moment, really, because it would have been so easy just to stay in that place of despair. But I chose and courage in myself and my future, really, to say, no, I'm not going to keep going there. I'm going to choose hope over hopelessness, as difficult as that was, because I had no evidence. I had no evidence whatsoever. And that's the thing, is we tend to collect evidence from our environment, right? Which then feeds into us either negatively or positively. So it was choosing to really follow my heart. And then I really felt led after that to just talk to successful people to clean up my own stinking, negative, cynical thinking. So I was led to talk to business leaders, community leaders, and church leaders. And that's when I talked to all these business leaders, what I saw I saw evidence. I saw positive evidence in their life was that, God and their faith enabled them to overcome major life crises, including bankruptcy, like on $50,000 in credit card debt, and many other things. And so that evidence and that faith that I had and mustered up raised my faith from 2 out of 10 to like an 8 out of 10. And it was that faith that enabled me to pay off the $50,000 in credit card debt in 2 years. It was the faith and the belief that was the foundation for that. So, so that's a bit of that story and the courage that took.
I can totally understand that. Most certainly courageous of you to do that. And it is, like you say, it's a choice. We've got to remember that you can either be down on it or you can get up and do something about it. So what took you on your journey of a purpose coach then? Did that naturally fall into place from your experiences?
Well, yeah, it was actually that was a catalyst. I had this epiphany, and then we actually published this book. And so what happened is I started interviewing all these, and this is going to answer your question. So we started interviewing all these great people, leaders, and then I felt led to say, well, Gary, put all these great examples of faith and faithfulness together in a book. And so we did, and I was attracted to the right co-author and so on. So we published in about 10 years ago now, The Kingdom Promise, how leading
Mm.
Canadians choose faith to conquer the storms of life. And that was it, choosing faith to conquer the storms of life. And so as I'm going through this experience, and there's zero income in the training business, and my good friend says, "Hey, Gary, you ought to transition your skill set into another industry, which is alive and well, not the training industry, which is totally dead." And he says, like maybe for a charity, a worthy charity. And immediately the idea resonated in my heart. My heart was full of love for this idea, and I didn't even know anything about it. And like I've always followed my heart. I don't know how or why. And so that led me to actually find a part-time job in the fundraising. And because I was following my heart, and because I had some skill sets I could transfer, I had some rapid success there, which led into that as a career. But also this whole experience, I felt led to say, well, Gary, you've had a powerful experience about following your heart, like it was life-saving for you. It was inspiring. So start helping other people do the same thing. Follow their heart and show up, and be on purpose and make a positive impact in this hurting world, which I think we'd all agree is what we need, because there's a lot of chaos.
Absolutely. There is a lot of uncertainty in the world currently. So how can one create certainty in an uncertain world?
Yeah, it's a fundamentally powerful question. And when you think of uncertainty, some of the characteristics of it, and think, as you're listening or watching this, think, so what is it to you? How does it feel when you feel uncertain? You're probably worried, you're concerned about the future, you have doubt, maybe even have fear, maybe even anxiety. And there's lots of evidence for that right now in this crazy chaos world. And so the key is, it's really about our mental focus, just like my choice, right? I chose hope over hopelessness. It's the same thing for us every single day, every conscious moment. I believe we're either choosing faith or fear. We're either choosing hope or hopelessness. And so it's really being aware of what we're choosing, and being more consciously controlling our thoughts and our focus and our dialogue and our self-talk. And one of the best ways to do that, so think for a moment. So think of a time or the last time when you, as the listener watcher, when you were really focused on a project, you were loving what you were doing, you were serving at a high level, you were totally focused, and you were passionate, and you felt, in essence, on purpose. So how did you feel? How did that make you feel as you maybe relive that a little moment? And it's probably also true that you really didn't see all the distractions that were happening around you, because you were so focused, and there's actually power. There's power in focus, and there's power in clarity. And so, for example, I love this example of, my magnifying glass here. Here's my magnifying glass, and the sun's up here, and we're going to take the sun's energy, and we're going to harness it and channel it through this magnifying glass into a narrow point, just like a laser beam, right? So it's focused, it's clear, and there's power here, absolute power here, just like a laser beam. So it's the same thing with our thoughts. When we're focused, laser focused on good things and what we're creating in our life, we really don't even see the distractions to a large extent. So it's really about our focus, and then the passion and so on that just comes out of that naturally is going to keep us, fresh and high energy and on track.
Definitely, and I can really relate to that. So what is the relationship between clarity of purpose and business success then? Because you've mentioned that quite a bit just now.
Yeah, and so it's really an expansion of probably what I just said. With the magnifying glass, there's clarity and power, and so the more focused we are, the more we have a compelling vision, and the more that we have a powerful why. The why is the most important. The how and so on, and the who comes a bit later, but it's the why part, which is the purpose part. So the stronger that is, it's like. So in one of the world wars, Second World War, probably this Stockwell, his was his name, and he did some research, and it was really about those prisoners who lost hope died rather rapidly, and those prisoners who maintain their hope. And as Viktor Frankl says, so Viktor Frankl was one of those prisoners, and I just want to quote him from Man's Search for Meaning.
Yes.
Most people know of the name or the book, and he says that everyone has their own specific mission in life to carry out, a concrete assignment which demands fulfillment. You cannot be replaced, nor can your life be repeated. The world needs you to show up. And so when we are showing up such as that, and we pour all of our spirit, our energy, and our time into it, I often use the phrase, passion, purpose, and performance. When we're following our passion, our greatest passion, which I define as our current purpose. So our greatest passion is our current purpose. We're going to be naturally high performing. We're going to be in our gifting area. We're going to have lots of energy and commitment to doing it well. So we will be high performing. The likelihood of success is very, very great. Again, provided we have a good strategy and target market and goals and mechanisms and all those things. But those are somewhat secondary. But the key driver is just like it was the faith that God would support me when I was $50,000 in credit card debt. It was that faith and belief that enabled me to pay off the money, the debt. So it's the same thing here for you, right? It's that level of focus and your why and your purpose and your clarity of your purpose that gives you the power and therefore most likelihood for business success.
Excellent. So what are the benefits of being purpose-driven?
Yeah, and maybe you just experienced it a bit earlier when we asked you to relive that last experience or experience. And so for most of us, right, it's like it's high energy. I'm focused. I'm fulfilled. I'm really taking action. I'm making a big difference. And we feel alive. And actually, there's a great website I want to share in terms of that clearly this is really powerful. I was just sort of overwhelmed when I first saw this. And the website is called thescienceofpurpose.org. And a number of the great consulting firms have just done research on exactly this. What's the impact of a purpose-driven individual and a purpose-driven business? And I just want to share a couple of stats.
Wow.
These are amazing. And this is all from collaborated research from the top consulting firms in the world. I mean, it's incredible. Scienceofpurpose.org. And so for purpose-driven individuals, so they are 4 times more likely to be engaged in their work, and they're 5 times more productive. And there's a 47% chance of greater, 47% increase in abundance in their life. Under leadership, purpose-driven people are 50% more likely to be in leadership. In relationships, 54% more abundant and fulfilling relationships. A 31% increase in feeling of being in love. We all want to feel loved. And lastly, here, health. Yeah. A better physical health, 32 less doctor's appointments, stronger DNA, 7+ longer years of life. And so maybe this is critically important right now in terms of the chaos. So better mental, emotional health, at lower levels of disability and depression, 42% greater. I know I'm going quickly, but like this is all stats, right? 42% greater contentment and reduction in fear and anxiety. And lastly, 539% greater resiliency and grit. Like these are powerful, real benefits when you are living your purpose.
Yes, I mean, my next question, actually, I know I always do this because I wouldn't know how to do it any other way. I always follow my heart. How will following your heart lead to success? Because some people actually question that because, you shouldn't lead from your heart. It should be headstrong. I mean, explain that a little.
Yeah, and you know what? Our current, especially the Western society, is we're all about the head. It's all about the mind, and that's not exactly true. It's head and heart. I mean, and there's a lot of research more recently that there's incredible wisdom and intelligence of the heart, and the heart really is we define as our soul. It's really our soul. The most combination I've seen is our mind, our emotions, and our will, and that's where really spirit communicates through us, and intuition. It can often be defined as as God speaking to us, whereas prayer is us speaking to God. And so I believe that our intuition, and when we follow our heart, we're really following God's, God, divine source, whatever you want to refer to it as, that ultimate to being power. It's really, it's the power's direction for us in our life. And most of us probably have had the experience when we follow our heart. It's the best decision. I know I've definitely had that experience. Publishing this book, and it was an awkward time. I'm still in debt. It was following my heart. And whether I bought some land, it was because I followed my heart. And so the key there is when we follow our heart, it leads to success, no matter how you define success. Success is not just finances and financial success. It's also growing, it's learning experiences. And I think most of us would agree that a majority of our learning and growth comes when we're going through challenges. So yes, when you follow your heart, it may not be perfect, and there will probably be challenges, but there's just tremendous growth there. And you're actually, I believe it's a success because we're actually following a worthy ideal. An ideal I define as an idea that we fall in love with. An idea we fall in love with. So there's growth there, there's opportunity there. And as Gandhi says, that passion is the most powerful motivator in the world. So yeah, it's going to lead us towards success. And just to clarify, it's not just like being a starving artist where we're just following our passion and what we're good at. There's other elements that we can bring into it, as we do in a lot of our programming around, what's the world need, and what can you be paid for, and what are you good at? So it's a combination of your heart and your gifting and your skill and the need and what you can be, reimbursed for. So it's a combination of those things.
Definitely. That's really good. Yeah. So how can one reinvent their life or business? Because unfortunately, things can go wrong, as we all know. So how can one do that?
Well, I believe it starts with catching a fresh vision. And so, and there's real power in vision. Vision is just another element of, being on purpose. And vision is really a mental image of your future, and a compelling future where you want to go. And as we've sometimes heard that, when there's no vision, the people will perish. So getting a vision for yourself, and we often help people do that through closed eye visualizations, that they catch a brand new vision from their heart, from their soul, which is not being blocked by their egoic mind. And so it's coming out of their heart and their soul. And in fact, one really quick story, this lady who she did the work, she caught a new vision. She was a solo entrepreneur, like as a copywriter and so on. And she got this vision to bring in other service providers into her little group, and expand it so they could go after larger national clients, because they now have a pool of resources to cover the entire spectrum of the client's needs. And she did this, and so she had a breakthrough. She reinvented her business. It was a new business model because she had this vision of people collaborating together in a community to have a greater, powerful pool to reach out. And in the last 2 years, they've landed 2 large national clients with global impact. So it's really about following your heart, catching that new vision, and you're being drawn towards that, and then working through looking at all the possibilities. What are the ways that I could deliver and fulfill this vision, and then prioritizing those opportunities, and then setting those in terms of goals and strategies and actions for those goals, for those opportunities. So I know I've gone fairly quickly over a number of these things. Happy to answer any more questions in detail as you desire.
And that's fantastic. So tell me more about your upcoming webinar called Create More Clarity and Certainty in an Uncertain World.
Yeah, and that's the key. I believe people really need that right now because there is so much chaos in the world. And so we're going to be helping you to create more of that certainty. And some of the things we've touched on here today in much more depth to really get increase your clarity and confidence for your compelling future. Developing that mental emotional strength. So you're not even, and so you're focused on your calling, your purpose, your future, and you're not distracted, by all the chaos, really. And you're moving more from fear and doubt to faith and to hope. And developing that emotional strength and really making sustainable commitments way beyond a New Year's resolution. Like we'll be talking about the 7 proven mindset principles, for example. I just talked about one, really choosing, our mental focus, really choosing faith over fear. There's 6 more that we'll be talking about. And so, we invite you to come and attend. It's complimentary. It's the second week of January to kick off the new year. January 10th, 11th, and 12th, just for 1 hour in each evening, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So there'll be a link here that you can just register and invite your friend as well. Invite some friends to join in together, and you can support each other as you go through this to kickstart 2023 with more certainty and confidence and clarity to have greater impact and success in your life in 2023.
Absolutely. And I will be putting all the links in. Please do go ahead. If that's for you, join the webinar. It's most certainly needed right now. So what resources do you recommend, tools, daily tips to anyone that wants to start living a life on purpose?
Well, certainly. Like a morning routine is critical where you can strengthen your faith, whether it's faith in yourself and just really manage your self-talk and create that mindset. So that would be a key. And if it's faith-based for you, you already probably have a practice there. But it's really starting the day, with a really positive mindset and with expectations and belief for a good, productive day, even being led as to how you're going to serve people. That's sort of high level what I would say. Actually applying, the mindset principles. Starting your day off, with the right mindset and some exercise probably too. I would say, hey, if you want to raise your faith, you can pick up one of these books. They're like $18. And other resources, just the key is fill our minds with positive information, gather positive evidence. And even for me, this war and inflation and politics, I have interest in knowing that just to be informed. But I have to sometimes cut it off and say, Gary, it doesn't add any value. You need to be filled with, positive evidence. And I believe we need to, can I use the term, stop watching crap, and even many of the shows on TV.
Right there beside you on that.
Like it doesn't do anything. We need to guard our consciousness. We need to guard our eye gate and our ear gate and our mind gate. It's critical what we're putting into our biocomputer. What we put in, we get out. So as we put in good practices in the morning and through the day, that we're going to get out much better in terms of our life experience, and the impact that we can have. So really about good routines, especially in the morning, for high self-management and high impact and performance.
That's brilliant. Where can the listeners find you online, Gary? Your book, what's your website, please?
www.onpurposepeopleperform.com. And in the book, it can be reached at, and there'll probably be a link there also, but in essence, it's at www.trustingthroughthetransition.com. And just go to resources there and you'll see it, and so on. So just a point that, so both these website titles, they're purposeful. We're going through a transition. So we need to be trusting through this transition, trusting in ourselves, trusting in the universe, trusting each other. And also similarly, on purpose, people do perform and have positive impact on the world. So let's trust and be on purpose and have positive impact. I want to share this quote on courage. That courage is not the absence of fear. Rather, it's the ability to take action in the face of fear. So when we step out and we follow our heart, and take action, even though we're afraid, we're uncertain, that actually is courage. So the more we do that each and every day, in even small ways, we're building up our courage muscle and our strength to face what's coming in the future. which may be uncertain. So yeah, so follow your heart, take courage, be on purpose, and have a positive impact. So yes, this quote, courage, is by Nancy Anderson from her book, Work with Passion.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your courageous journey with us today. And by doing so, I know you have helped so many others. Gary Gradley. So my final question to you is, because we are all about Create the Courage to Be Fearless podcast here, what is your definition of courage?
So my definition of courage is really following your heart in the absence of really evidence and taking the risk. And you'll be glad you did, right? It's fulfilling. This is a long definition. It's fulfilling for you and strengthens your soul when you step out in courage and follow your heart. So that's what I encourage you to do. Have courage and follow your heart.